Hello, and welcome back to the Coop de Villa channel. I'm Scott Cooper, and I'm here with Noah Fisher and Tommy Lazaridis, and we are here to discuss the FA Cup quarterfinal between Preston North End and Aston Villa. Yes, we're back from the international break, and we're back with a bang, a 3-0 win. We're into the semi-final. Marcus Rashford, balloons on the pitch, Crystal Palace coming up. We'll be talking about all of that and much more after this. Yes, and welcome back to Coop de Villa Live for another week. Yes, we're back from the international break. And boys, it's great to see you both. It's been a while. And look, the international break gave us a good sort of opportunity to take a deep breath. And now we're going to focus for this last stretch of the season that is so exciting. And we got it off to a great start, Tommy. It's great to see you. You've been in China, for a while. You've been working hard, but you're back. It's the chat's been calling for you, buddy. They've been, where's Tommy? Where's Tommy? So
I'm still here. I'm still here. Glad to be back, mate.
Great to have you back. And look, I guess the big sort of headline from this game was Marcus Rashford, the 2 goals, his first 2 goals for Villa. And after a bit of a dull first half where not a lot happened for either side, and it was just a great second half performance, I thought, from the team. Really professional, really fantastic, and so good for his confidence and the team's confidence for Rashford to bag a brace and get a couple of goals.
Oh man, honestly, I think he had a chance to score before his first goal, right? Where he kind of dribbled past the keeper and just unfortunate. I mean, Asensio was right there begging for the ball, but Rashford, I think, wanted the glory. Can't blame him in these moments. But yeah, the opening goal, wow, obviously great passing. I think it was Ramsey to Digne, and then obviously Digne putting it on a plate, and Rashford just what a way to silence the haters. I did see some threads circulating, and I don't want to jump ahead, but it's like, they're saying, oh, well, if you scored 2, it's only Preston. If you didn't score, they'd be like, oh, see, he can't score on the big stage. It's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. So deserves his chocolates. But the opening goal just thought was absolutely clutch, and the Marcus Rashford we've all fallen in love with.
Yeah, absolutely. And, he was fantastic. And another guy, Noah, that I think wasn't spoken about a lot in the press, but us villains know how important he is to us. And that was what I thought was the man of the match performance from one Boubacar Kamara. And just the fact that he is back, I think, is even bigger maybe than Rashford getting the goals, because what I saw on that field was a master of his trade, an absolute craftsman. Like, there was so many little moments in that second half, especially, where he was playing his own game. He was playing with his own ball and doing things that us mere mortals could only kind of dream of. Like, there was one time he played like a raking pass on the half volley across the field.
To Digne.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, he's back. Boober is back.
Yeah, it's good to be back, Scott, too. 3 weeks seems like a very long time. Obviously, we didn't have a Premier League game last week due to the Liverpool game. Was it last week? Yeah. I think it was. Or whatever, the last Premier League game it was. But long time. Good to be back. And how good to see Boubacar Kamara back to his best. Another player that I think flew under the radar, Jacob Ramsey. Looked like he was back to his best season. How we saw him end that, was it the 2022-23 season, I think it was, how he was just absolutely on fire right at the end of that season. And wow, I didn't think I'd miss Aston Villa this much, but FA Cup semi-finalists for the first time since 2015. It's all happening. And it all, honestly, I go to that back line, right? I mean, it starts from the back line. We've all said how, Shaker, I know we played Preston, and no disrespect to Preston, but we should be comfortably beating Preston in the situation that we're in. And I thought they put up a very good fight in the first half, and we all knew how they were going to play, quite defensive mind and traders on the break. And the first half, they completely did that to their credit. But once they break them down and show our quality, and players like Boubacar Kamara and, just he's a Rolls Royce, Yuri Tielemans, and the list just goes on and on. I can't believe the side we've assembled. And I know, Scott, you were worried about our backup striker, John Durant, being sold. And, you keep telling me Rashford's not a striker. He's not a striker. He's a winger. He's a winger. Well, that winger that played up front for us scored a couple of goals and looked very good. So,
look, he's done awesome. And it was never a slight against Rashford. We don't need to cover that. We've done that. We got plenty to talk about.
Re-aggravating trauma. No, re-aggravating trauma.
I will point out that John Durant scored for Colombia on the international break, but look, let's talk.
Can I jump in for a sec, Scott?
Go for it.
I was going to say, just while we're on the topic of forwards, I think I probably speak this on behalf of a lot of Villa fans. I thought Marlon was pretty hard done by. We all thought he'd be at least one of the first names on the sheet, and we know he can play his part, and I do really start to feel for the guy, to be honest. He was signed with purpose and then dropped from the Champions League squad. He's probably one of our players that has the most experience in the Champions League at the moment. So, shout out to Danielle. Hope he keeps his head up, and sure a lot of us would love to see him.
We did see a bit of him. He came on
and
he had
lively.
He had one moment where he kind of bullied 3 or 4 players and went around them. And look, it was one of these games that was kind of lose in a way for Villa. Like, we were expected to win. If we win, it's just like, oh, it's only Preston. If we lose, it's like, what a choke. You guys have, so there was some sort of pressure there. We were at their ground. Deepdale. It was a fantastic atmosphere, I thought, for any Preston fans listening. I think you guys did yourself credit.
Absolutely.
First half, you battled hard, and I think that's a kind of team that in the past has sort of got to Villa, like an away game with a raucous atmosphere, small ground.
Agreed.
We've lost those games in the past to teams that we should have beaten, and teams that sit back in a low block. This season, we've had real trouble breaking them down. And I thought in this game, we controlled the possession, even in the first half when not a lot was happening. We controlled the ball. We knocked it about. We Boubacar Kamara. We got Tielemans in there. All the likely lads were in there, doing their thing and just trying to control the game. And then when the game opened up in the second half, we really kind of showed what we're about. And, what a great goal, Noah, from Ramsey, like you said. Great to see him running at the center of the defense, like turning. And, we haven't seen that for a while. And it reminded me of his goal against Norwich way back. Do you remember? I think that might have been the Gerrard days.
It was.
Yes.
I think it was one of his first or second senior Villa goal or something. Definitely under Steven Gerrard. And that's the JJ we want. I know that Tommy's called for him to be sold, I think, 101 times on this podcast. But if he can get going back and doing that sort of stuff, then he has every right to start on that left-hand side. I mean, when we saw the team lineup come out, I'm not going to lie to you, I was a bit surprised. No Watkins in there. And it was just seemed like, oh, okay, he's rested a few, but obviously going to work out. But, I mean, that team flowed so well together. The way Absolutely. It was defensively through the midfield and up front. I mean, when you have players like Asensio and Rashford in your side, along with a young Jacob Ramsey, I think they took the pressure off him a little bit, if that kind of makes sense.
Absolutely.
All the pressure's on Rodgers and Asensio to carry the ball, that they get sucked in when those guys have it, that JJ could just run free. If that happens in the Premier League or the Champions League, I don't know, but it was it's great to see for him.
Look, I'm looking forward, Tommy, to the semi-final where we got Crystal Palace, which we've had some tough days against Palace recently. I mean, I know one of them, we at the end of last season, we already were on the beach because we qualified for the Champions League. Last game of the season, we lost, I think, 5-0 that game. Was it 5-0? Yeah. But we lost 4-1, I think, recently, or 4-0 in the league, and that was our last defeat. And Palace do seem to be a bit of a bogey team for us, especially at their ground. But I think on the open spaces of Wembley, the big pitch, guys like Rodgers and Ramsey who can run with the ball can really give us, something extra and hopefully get us to the final. What are you thinking about that Palace matchup?
Well, I don't know. To be honest, I'm not calling Rodgers to be dropped, but I thought it was actually quite anonymous, penalty aside. I know he won the pen, but just felt like he didn't have that normal fluidity, and just I felt like other players had to kind of carry the front third. So I know he normally does a lot of carrying from box to box, but I just didn't see that as much. I hope it was just a one-off thing, but I know there were times this season where a lot of people said, I think maybe just because he's got rid of the piss-stained blonde hair, he just hasn't been the same since. So. I don't know. I'd like to see it maybe be a bit of a shake-up. But yeah, I think Wembley's a bigger ground. I don't know. I just think that we've improved quite a lot from start of the season. I think we're starting to click now at the right time. And, I don't want to digress to Cox's comment, but no, I don't think Kamara or Tillman should be dropped. If Kamara's to be dropped, maybe for some Prem games, I do think it's Bogart who should be coming in. So I think he's been a standout in the Prem. So he's a very capable replacement in front of the back four. And he links up well. But
we saw Onana come back in this game.
Yeah, true. For me, but I think Bogart's a bit ahead of Onana. I just think his passing's better. He's actually a better tackler, and he's definitely the fitter of the two players. That's for sure. So, I just think everything's starting to click now. So I think whatever we were thinking, 2-3 months ago, I think it's just a complete different scenario here. I think we've got a really interesting month or two coming up. So I think Wembley's a bigger ground. We're talking. Bigger ground means bigger pressure, and we've got a lot of England internationals in our team. I know they've got Eze and a few others, but I think just your Rashfords, your Watkins, your Conce, even Emi Martinez. I think these are moments big name players live for. So just another game for the big boys. It's another high pressure game, and even Mings as well, right? So I think we're ready for it. I think Wembley's different to anything else.
I'm excited because Selhurst Park is the craziest atmosphere, and we all know that, and we haven't done well there. I think it was our last win under Gerrard there, I think. We won 2-1, but I think the bigger grounds will suit us. We'll run them off their legs, honestly.
I think the Villa fans will play a big part in this as well, Noah. Right? Like it's open territory. There's no home ground advantage, and I just think out of the two, like we certainly perform better on big occasions.
And think about the players we've got that have played and scored at Wembley quite a lot, like Rashford. Watkins, John McGinn scored at Wembley, remember, famously in the playoff final. We've got,
Al-Bazi, bring him back.
Get him back from Cardiff.
I think we'll probably have the edge in terms of like our squad and the depth with it we got. And I totally agree with you, Tommy. We are a far different team than we are last time we faced Palace. And 3 clean sheets in a row in all competitions. I mean, that in
4 out of our last 5, Scott.
4 out of the last 5. And I wanted to highlight this comment from Jeff. I thought, Deepdale, the ground was great. It was old school kind of FA Cup feel, like, the minnows against the big boys and the whole, like the whole town coming out for that game. But there was the balloons on the field, which was absolutely doing my head in. Like,
whose kid's birthday was it in the morning and they forgot to clean up? Like, I'm surprised there wasn't a bloody jumping castle in the center of the field.
I know. I thought there was some guy on the sideline doing like a dog with the balloons,
I do want to say one thing. I've seen the last few comments coming in. I thought back four was pretty elite. Cash. I mean, I would have liked to see Garcia, but Cash, I thought, looked pretty good and pretty solid as well in the front third. And then, just back to his defensive prowess.
It's the back four that Emery had when he first came in. And we know it
Concer
works.
And Mings, I feel like they're those, if anyone watched the Mighty Ducks, they're like the Bash brothers, right? They're almost inseparable. And yes, Torres plays all these passes, but, Mings, I just credit to that guy. Coming back from what he's come, I think I slated him. A lot of us do. Done that fucking handball against Club Brugge, the first game back in the Champions League. And I just think he's just resilient and just bounced back so hard. We're forgetting the guy this time last year had half a kneecap. Unreal. Just what a bounce back. And I thought they looked rock solid. I think that's who you want protecting him.
And going forward, it was Digne and Cash that were causing all the problems.
I agree. Digne got the assist.
Digne got the assist, and Cash was getting forward on that right-hand side. And with this, the way we play, where we are quite narrow at times, we have to get those fullbacks overlapping and giving us the width. And Digne, I think, is one of the best in the Premier League at doing that. And Cash has improved so much. And I love the fact that he's crossing with his left foot now. He always sort of goes to the byline, cuts back, and he got that assist against Arsenal way back earlier in the season to Ollie Watkins, and now he's knocking those balls in his left peg.
Yeah,
and he's so much harder to defend.
I thought it was Asensio actually pinging one in. No, it was fucking Cash just going on his left. I got mixed up at one point in the game. I thought it was Asensio that's helped him out. I thought it was a pretty good cross as well.
The players are adjusting to and adapting. The only person that's not is Leon Bailey, who doesn't like to use his weaker foot for some reason. But it proves that players know what kind of foot you are. They're going to put all that weight and expectation on you going to the right. And if you change that gun on your left, it creates opportunities.
I don't want to pick it out, but fucking Ollie comes on, should have bloody scored with his first touch. I think he just shanked it.
He should have scored a couple, but I mean, I guess you can look at it two ways. Like, he's making the chances, you know. I mean, I guess
Rashford's converting him. That's the difference, Scott, unfortunately.
I know, but I would say that it's Ollie's first game back from injury.
He's got the cobwebs. Cobwebs got to shake it. And it's a good game to shake it out. 3-0 up, was it 2-0, 3-0? Let him shake it out. Also, Rashford's pen, calm as nails. For me, that's our certified penalty taker.
Absolutely. If he's on the field, he is the penalty taker for sure. I think.
Not just the technique.
Pay the money.
You look straight. You just can't miss the kick. Kane takes them. Lewandowski does them. Like, you just can't lose that way. Touch wood. I hope I'm not jinxing against Palace or anyone. But.
And you know where he did probably score his most famous penalty of his career at PSG. So looking forward to that game. And I know we've got some huge games. They're huge game. Well, Man United knocked PSG out of the Champions League maybe 4 years ago, and he scored the penalty at the end that sent them through. And look, I think looking forward to that game, which is, like I said, we've got some big games coming up before that game. But I think PSG are starting to, maybe think, this might be tougher than we think, because
I agree. Like, you've got a team of international players. You've got arguably a top 3 keeper in the world. I don't give a shit what all the haters say. Everyone's like, Emmy's not the best keeper in the world, but on pens or in big games, he's the guy that I want. And I said, ideally, that's what makes them the best, isn't it? It's not, the shitty games that no one cares about. Big moments. Mm-hmm. And, just the cockiness. I don't care. The Emmy Martinez penalty rule. We love it. That's what it's about.
And he loves playing the French. He loves playing the French.
Oh, yeah, he owes them one. Yeah, they owe him one.
Yeah, he said it during the international break when he was at Argentina. They asked him about that game, and he said, I love going to France. Or he said some cheeky, typical Emmy comment, and we obviously saw him, roughing up Rafinha after Argentina beat Brazil 4-1 in the World Cup qualifier.
Rafinha or Vitinha?
That was Rafinha.
From Brazil.
Barcelona's Rafinha, because he said before the game that they would beat up on Argentina, and they would definitely beat them in Romario's YouTube podcast, apparently. And then when it was 4-1 at the end of the game, Emmy ran past and gave him a bit of a shoulder, a bit of a just reminding him of.
It's like, you want to talk the talk, make sure you can walk the walk. Speaking of which, I don't know if anyone saw this bit of bullshit. So Stade Rennes, I think we're playing PSG in the league, and so Stade Rennes originally said, no, we're not going to call off the game. We want to go ahead. Yeah. So and now apparently the French got involved. So they've agreed to call off the game.
The only league that doesn't do it is the Premier League.
Well, they've agreed to call it off, and I think there's obviously money involved. There's no way that they say no, and they're like, it's probably the right thing to do. Make your decision, stick to it. I think there was clearly some influence from above.
Yeah, well, look, they're all about, getting PSG to win that Champions League. That's what the Ligue 1 wants. That's what, the television rights. They've really struggled to actually sell their television rights for the Ligue 1 in France recently in their recent package. So I do know that, there's like some back and forth there because of course, PSG are owned by Qatar and they own beIN Sport. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. But what I would say is, look, we just got to rock up and play.
Keep rolling. Rolling.
Don't worry about what they're doing. We got to worry about what we're doing. And look, if it means, like, sometimes when you're on a good run like we're on right now, you just want to keep playing games. We're not tired. We just had three weeks off, right? We just had a little trip to Dubai, which seemed to work because everyone seems up and about. Like, Kamara looks back to his best. Ramsey looks back to his best. These guys that didn't go to international break and went to the hot weather training camp in Dubai.
By the way.
They all look good. So I think that was a great decision to do that.
Agreed.
We had a little 3-1 victory in a friendly over there. Asensio scored a quality goal. I saw some clips of that. It looks like the players are coming together well. The atmosphere is great. Rashford's smiling, scoring goals. Tillemans and these guys look like they've had a nice little rest in their back. And, we've played a lot of football. Like Morgan Rogers played well for England, got his first start against Latvia and played well, was talked about a lot in his performance there. So it's all looking good. The only thing is Ross Barkley, which seems to be a week or two away, and he'll be back too. And
seems like forever ago.
Yeah, but it ended up being. I think they thought it was a calf strain. It ended up being an MCL injury for Barkley. So they misdiagnosed that one. But I mean, we've almost got a full strength squad, and I want to touch on something, Scott, from the international break. The last game when we had 3 Villa players playing, I think it was the first time since 2009 that happened, when we had, I think it was Ashley Young, James Milner, and Gareth Barry.
For England. It was Emil Heskey, Agbong Lahore, and
Ashley Young.
Yes, I think
Carlos Coelho.
Yes. Okay. Ashley Young, yeah.
Yeah, but how crazy is that?
I know, 2009. Look, it just proves that this is the best side of the Premier League era. I think that, and we've just got it. I just really want this FA Cup. How far can we go, Tommy? Can we win it? Tell me, we're going to be lifting.
I'd love to play City, to be honest, in the final. So yeah, I think so. I'm not saying Crystal Palace is an easy run, but I think out of all the teams right now, I probably want to play them the most. I think Man City picked up their form, and they're former bloody champions. Nottingham Forest, we said, they're not looking too good. Then they go, who'd they beat?
They show win. Yeah.
Well, I think it was but they beat, wasn't it Arsenal or someone? It was like a big upset, right?
Yeah, they beat Brighton 7-0 recently.
That's the one, but they beat Arsenal or something recently, right? There was on a bit of a slump, and they're back up. So I think Palace are getting a few wins. Palace are getting a few wins, but I mean, they're the team I take right now, Palace. And I think we can combat them best out of anyone.
Look, Scott, I reckon we would at least make the semi-finals of the competition. If I was to predict the future, I reckon we'll make the semi-finals of the FA Cup.
Oh, I hope you're not a gambling man.
Thanks, Nostradamus. So well done.
That's right. No worries.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Is this the best squad we've ever had, Scott? Is this the best squad you've ever seen for Villa?
I think it is now the best I've ever seen. I mean, obviously,
I can't explain.
Obviously,
about your Asensios and
it's got to be it's got to be the best since the early '80s, and I know that team.
It's definitely the best.
I know that team was good, but we weren't getting you everyone's like Rashford is like, what the fuck is going on at Villa? Like, no, I'm not saying '80s we had a good squad, but no one's saying how the hell Villa pull this off? We had a good squad.
That team's got the medals, mate. Until you got the medals.
What I mean, that was a winning team, Scott. So this team now, theoretically, they're not they're a good team, but they're not in terms of accolades. But we're signing these crazy players that no one would expect. I mean, that's also money talking, but still.
Yeah, and I mean, and it does kind of annoy me that the big story, I've been listening to, the podcast today and all this of football, and it's all just Rashford. What does this mean for Man United? Next season, Rashford's back in form, and I'm like,
Rashford's buy price is 60 million. I'm like, Villa have a 40 million clause that they can activate, and it's if they agree terms with Rashford. So uninformed.
And it's unbelievable. And it's like, well, there was an actual, 10 other players starting that game, and they're through to a semi-final. Isn't that a story? No, okay, fine. Let's just keep going under the radar. And all of a sudden we're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We're 4 points off fourth place.
Yeah,
and it's top 5 for Champions League now. So I think we're 3 points off that, and we're in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Noah,
it is a season to remember.
How are we going to celebrate when we win the Champions League FA Cup double?
I'm going to go to England, and I think we all should. No, I don't know. If you go back 5-6 years ago. It seems like an eternity away, but I mean, technically, we were so close to getting relegated. The goal line, I know people say, there were different results throughout the season. Technically, the goal line technology kept us up, right?
Thanks,
imagine how life would be if we went down. You know what I mean? It's crazy. You probably lose Jack then. We don't get 100 mil for him. Who knows if we're down there for in the championship a couple of years? Like it's just
we'd be happy we signed Ross McCormack
effect.
back. We'd be happy we got Ross McCormack back.
We'd have Lewis Graben right now up front again.
Yeah, it's sort of a job for us, but you know what I mean. Like we wouldn't have signed Martinez. You know, we wouldn't. Like it's all like his career wouldn't be the same as it is.
We wouldn't have Emery.
So bizarre.
I think was the big one. We wouldn't, I mean, it's
we wouldn't have we wouldn't have the fucking podcast, to be honest. Like that's the biggest loss out of all. We wouldn't have met all these awesome people.
Yeah. Like it's such a weird situation to look back on, and it's definitely the best Villa team I've ever seen. Like in my time as supporting Aston Villa, and I know we've had some unbelievable players in the past, and you hear stories from people that have seen win the Champions League and win a lot of trophies and stuff. But if we win the FA Cup, Scott, like I don't know how I'll celebrate. I don't know how all these people celebrate.
I have a dumb question. I mean, I should probably know this. What does the FA Cup get you? Is it Champions League?
Europa League.
Europa League.
We get that anyway.
But with our squad, the strength on our bench.
We're currently ninth. We're currently ninth.
I don't know if anyone's seen fixtures. Our next 6 weeks, mate, we can really climb up quick.
It's huge.
Mate, we can claw a lot of points off people.
Well, that's a great segue because we got Brighton coming up on
Great
Wednesday
subway,
night.
yeah. Don't get me wrong,
and looking forward to this game. Is there any changes you want to see, Noah? What do you want to look at, going into this game? Because we do have a very good record against Brighton. They seem to be, we seem to be their bogey team. We get quite a few good results against them. We did lose there last season towards the end of the season. Where we were kind of like scraping towards fourth, but they played extra time and penalties against Forest. It's a good opportunity to go there and hopefully, like, they've been on a great run, to be fair. Since that 7-0 loss they had to Forest, I think they'd won every game until they lost again to Forest on penalties on the weekend in the FA Cup. So, what are your predictions? Looking forward to that game.
Well, every game for me in the back end of the season, we've got to win like 7 of our last 9. So every game's a cup final. And you got to beat the teams around you, and it starts instantly. No changes for me. I reckon run the team back. I think that the team was well strong enough to get the job done. Maybe McGinn comes in, I don't know, but I thought the team was well strong enough to get the job done again. And confidence is a big thing. The boys played unreal, and I think Emery has to trust that and run it back. Do I think we'll get the dub?
So Ollie off the bench again?
Ollie off the bench again. Like Rashford played up front, scored 2 goals.
Has to. He looked lethal, Rashford.
Why would you say, no, you're playing off the left? I think we're going to win. We don't normally keep clean sheets, Scott. We don't. It's a weird thing to be predicting, but I think we're going to win 2-0.
Nice. Well, I'll throw in my prediction now too, and I'll say, I'm going to say 4-1. I'm going to say we go down there and
is that Tommy's prediction? Is that your prediction?
Light it up. Yeah, I'm confident. I think the likes of Rashford, Asensio, Jacob Ramsey getting in the goals now. I think we can pressure them. We can force them to make mistakes with their flowing kind of passing football that they play. They take risks. They give you opportunities, and we have players now that are in form and banging in the goals. And I think if we could get a couple early, this could be a bit of a one-sided contest. What do you think, Tommy?
I'm probably going to aim between. I'm going to go 3-0. I think we'll keep a clean sheet, and I think we'll be convincingly win, but I don't think we'll be getting 4 or conceding, Scott. So piss on your fire.
No worries. Well, looking at the games we got coming, we got Brighton away. This is in the Premier League. Brighton away, Forest at home on Saturday. Then we got the PSG firstly. Then we got Southampton away, PSG again, and then Newcastle at home. So, I mean, it's just, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy to think, 3 of those 4 teams we play in the next in the Premier League are all in and around us and going for those top 5 positions as well. So, if we could really kind of come home with a wet sail and upset the apple cart and just, it'll be like Stephen Bradbury, back in the, in the Winter Olympics. Everyone falls down and we come through and win it.
That's unreal from you, Scotty.
That's a very Australian reference. Google Stephen Bradbury, you guys in England, because
ice skating, mate.
He's
one of the most amazing Winter Olympics highlights of all time. But yeah, look, I'm confident we can do it. We're playing well enough.
Yeah.
We've got the squad all fit, so why not?
So 4 games, Scott, excluding the PSG ones. Maybe it's a good segue here. Maybe what about like points prediction out of those 4 games? I'll kick off, and I'm actually going to be conservative and say 7. I think we'll lose to either Newcastle or Brighton, but I think we'll take 7 away from those 4 games.
I'm going to say 9. I'd
say 7 as well. I reckon 7 or 9. Yeah, that's how I see it.
We'll
definitely drop 1.
We definitely.
I can smell a loss. I don't know who it is, but I think it's Southampton. I think we'll beat one of the other 2, but again, it's still climbing up. I just hope it's one of the 2 that are closer to us than further.
Yeah, 100%.
Hopefully, Newcastle is still celebrating their Carabao Cup win when we play them. And but yes, I agree that Garcia should probably start a game, and maybe Marlon too. Why not? I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be upset if he makes a few changes, because we do have the depth. And this is a great point from Coxie. I wanted to talk about this earlier as well, actually. I think your point earlier that Rogers looks a bit quiet is, I think, linked to this comment from Coxie, and that's he doesn't look as comfortable coming from the right. I like him in that midfield, attacking 100%. Midfield, like that number 10 position where he get and I guess Ramsey played there on the weekend.
Ramsey played on the left, didn't he? I think it was.
Yeah, but okay, so maybe
Asensio kind of plays in the thing, but
Asensio. But it is very fluid, and they do kind of switch around, and they all go through there from time to time. But I don't know. I mean, I guess Asensio is playing so well; he's hard to leave out of that position. But
yeah,
I wouldn't just like put Rogers on the right just because we have to play him. I think you either play him because he's the best option there, or you play Asensio and maybe bring him off the bench. I don't know. Like it's a weird one but I'd rather play a Marlon or a Bailey on that right hand side, someone who is comfortable playing there, and that's their favored position.
I kind of feel bad for Daniel Marlon because he's kind of come into the team or the squad and barely played.
Promise. Like he's left starting he was playing Champions League and scoring, right? Like I do feel for the dude.
I know. I feel
for confidence.
We paid good money for him. Obviously, we'll have a part to play in the future, but it's a big kick in the guts not being picked for Champions League and not.
Mate,
barely playing.
I can smell a transfer request coming in. To be honest, end of season.
Yeah, it's. I don't like it because I think he's got so much to offer for us, and
I agree. And he looked good.
Yeah,
he's energetic. I don't even think he's been played in position, right? Like, got a feel for the guy.
And he had a terrible international break as well. He missed the penalty that knocked Holland out of the Nations League. So, but Ian Maddison scored a great goal. I don't know if you saw his goal.
I did. I love Ian Maddison. So I did see that goal.
He scored a nice left foot, banger. And I just want to say on this note, congratulations, Noah. You're losing the kilos.
Oh, jeez.
Doing very well. You're looking great. So,
Thank you. Thank you. I do. I feel good too.
Yeah. How many kilos, Noah? Tell us the story.
I'm not mentioning anything on the stream.
No, he won't tell anyone. 19.5, but it's okay.
I don't reckon that's what it is, but you never know.
Mate.
You never know.
Keep it up. It's good. It's good to see. And look, getting back to the fella, is there anything else we should touch on before we get out of here?
Links to Noni Madueke I'm seeing lately. I know that's probably all linked to Rashford and all this stuff, but not a bad link. They're saying 60 mil, but to be honest, I don't see why we don't pull the 40 for Rashford. I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's really up to Rashford himself, what he wants to do. And I guess we just got to keep him happy, keep him playing, keep him scoring goals.
Like the guy just looks so bloody resting bitch face. You don't know if he's happy, sad, or depressed. Asensio actually genuinely seems happy, and he's coming out saying it. So I think we'll probably keep Asensio. I'm touch and go on Rashford. I hope he wants to sign, but I think that's also a big pay cut. But then there's also people saying, "Oh well, Villa know what they're doing. They reckon it's already done in the background."
And there's a lot of people saying things like, he wants a bigger club, or he wants he's got his eyes set on Barcelona or somewhere else. But I think this is the perfect place for him. I mean, I know I'm biased, obviously, we all are, but
we all are.
Like he's playing for a team who's going to be playing Europe, hopefully the Champions League again next season. We're going for trophies, and he's back in the England team. Like, Thomas Tuchel picked him, so I don't really understand why he would want to leave that when it's going so well. And but I guess it's up to him, and we're going to see at the end of the season.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, and I can't believe the end of the season actually so close as well. Like when you think about it, there's not that long to go in this marathon of a season.
A party or anything? Scotty, how's little Gary, mate? He's
going great. He's been playing with his little football. He's got his skills going already. Tommy, he's
for a second I thought you were going to say he's playing with little Willie, but I'm glad he's playing with his football.
He plays with that as well sometimes. But
good boy.
He's amazing. He's
good lad.
Yeah, he's it's good times. We're not getting a great deal of sleep recently, but last night he was asleep during the first half. Then he woke up at half time, and I gave him a change, gave him a feed, and he watched the whole second half with me, and we banged in the goal. So he's a good luck charm, and I'll be hopefully having him on my lap when we play Brighton in the middle of the night on Thursday morning our time here in Australia. So
he's going to be learning how to swear pretty quick. He's going to be learning how to swear pretty quick, Scott. So maybe put some earmuffs on him.
Look, I didn't have to swear too much during that second half. It all went pretty.
I would have loved to have a live cam with you with the kid. You're like, holy moly, great goal.
But I sing the John McGinn song to him, and he loves it. I sing all the songs when I hear the Villa fans singing. Does
he fit
the Champions League song?
Yeah, or not? Does he fit in his kit?
Look, he's about ready for the kit. I'll get him in the kit and sing you some pics, but he's a bit shy for the pod, but
that's fair enough.
Maybe when he's a bit older.
Needs to get his opinion heard soon, though. I don't know how he thinks about our back four problems and stuff.
Absolutely. Well, look, I think that's a good time to wrap it up. Noah's got to work early in the morning. It's late in Melbourne. He's been burning the midnight hour, getting up early, crack of dawn. So
put in the hours, mate.
We'll let you go to sleep. But it's so good to have you all back. The chat is absolutely banging tonight. Please, all you guys, I haven't seen you guys, all you newcomers, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends about it, because we've got a massive end to the season coming up. We'll be doing these live shows after every game. We'll probably be doing one on Thursday night Australian time after the Brighton game. We will be. So Noah will be doing it from the MCG.
Not from the MCG.
No,
from Marvel. I'll do it from Marvel.
From Marvel Stadium. So there you go. Yeah. So that'll be something. So make sure you hit the notification bell, and that'll let you know when we're going live. But Tommy, great to have you back. Noah, always a pleasure. And up the Villa, and we will see you after Brighton. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.